Hello and welcome to the course. In this topic, you will understand what is Bootstrap and why it is important for you to learn this topic. With Bootstrap, you can build your interface in just 15 minutes. That's how powerful it is. Being a web developer, understanding this topic is actually a must. So do not skip this if you have aspirations to become a solid web developer. This knowledge will definitely help you in your journey of learning web development. So let's review what you learn in this course. In this topic, you will learn how Bootstrap can help you in your web development skills. And we'll understand what is the definition of the Bootstrap. Then we'll browse through the Bootstrap site and we'll understand what are the various menu options that we have there. Then we'll look into what's inside the Bootstrap, like what are the components of it and how it actually help us in giving some styling option. And we'll understand what is Bootstrap responsive web design. So if you're hearing this word responsive for the first time, no need to worry, I'll show you a live demo on it. Then we'll review some of the websites that's basically built with Bootstrap. This will give you a fair idea like when someone use a Bootstrap, how your output will look like. Then we'll learn how to earn money when you learn Bootstrap. I'll show you a couple of examples there, how people use this Bootstrap and earn money. Then finally, I'll summarize what we have learned. Okay, so let's understand how Bootstrap can help you. Imagine you plan to build a website for yourself or you're building for some company. And there are so many things you need to write to even see a first page. Like, layout of the page, menu, content structure, footers and many others. But once you have built the website, now you move on to another project. And you redo everything right from the scratch. And it takes, large amount of time to rebuild it again. Well, that's not productive, right? Even if you try to copy some of the code from your previous project, you still have to modify it a lot because your previous project is customized to that design and you want to have a new design based on the previous design, then you end up doing a lot of customization over there. So it's not a pretty clean approach to follow that process. That's where the Bootstrap comes and help us. It's like a website template, which has predefined reusable HTML components, some of like styling of the page, some of the layout of the page, which is pre-built on some of the best practices in the world. So instead of building a website from scratch, we use Bootstrap template that will 200% speed up the process of building our website with all the ready to use components available in the Bootstrap. Well, Bootstrap works as a template, as I already previously told you. Or it can also work as a framework to build a website, and we can use it as our starting point for website development. So if you're thinking that, okay, I should do a project, the first thing is you download a Bootstrap, the latest version, and then start working on it. So Bootstrap is actually like a language. Well, it's a framework or a template or a toolkit, but typically it's like a language that every developer must understand and know how to code with it. So in short, we will learn to build a website using Bootstrap. But first, let's understand what is Bootstrap. Let's do the definition part. Then we'll come back to what is Bootstrap. So let's understand what is the definition of a Bootstrap. Bootstrap is an open source toolkit for developing with HTML, CSS and JS, that is JavaScript. Well, that is the standard definition from Bootstrap themselves. So remember these keywords. When someone say you, what is a Bootstrap? You need to answer them, right? Something. So remember these keywords: toolkit, template, or a framework. So let's define the definition of Bootstrap using these three keywords. It is a toolkit or a template or a framework we can use to build a website. Well, that is the definition I want you to remember. Let's say you go back to your friends and say you have learned this awesome Bootstrap course online. Then the first question your friend might ask, what is a Bootstrap? So you're supposed to tell them it's a toolkit or a template which can be used to build a website. So if you're trying to build a website, you will use Bootstrap. So the first thing you do when you build a project, a website project, is you download the Bootstrap and then start editing it for your website. As and when new things evolved in the web world, this template, this Bootstrap template also get updated with the latest version. So when you use this toolkit to build your website, then your site is actually following some best practices in the industry. So it's very, very good that you start something from which already following some standard practice. Many web projects actually use Bootstrap as a starting point, and hardly you will find any experienced web developer who haven't heard about Bootstrap. So it's very common among the web developers, and many of the developers basically use this to prototype their ideas. So let me give you very simple to remember definition of a Bootstrap and why generally we use it. Well, we use Bootstrap to build a complete website within 15 minutes. We also use it to do a rough sketch of a site and show it to our client for a feedback. Whenever you start a website project, we actually use a Bootstrap. So there's a feature in Bootstrap called responsive web design. I'm going to show you that in a demo again. But this basically what it does, it allows your site to fit to any of the screen. Means if you are visiting a website from a mobile phone, the look and the feel of the website will differ from the website that you're watching on the browser. You can give a try. My site, freshestdocs.com, you can go to that site. You can see that site in your mobile, you can see the site in the computer. You can find the difference between the layouts. Well, next let's browse the Bootstrap site and understand it. Okay, so let's now browse the Bootstrap site. Here's the link. Just click on the link, it will take you to the Bootstrap page. This is the icon of the Bootstrap. So wherever you see this kind of icon, it denotes it's a Bootstrap. Okay, so here's the definition of a Bootstrap. Bootstrap is an open source toolkit for developing with HTML, CSS and JavaScript. So that's what we have been discussing past about what is Bootstrap. So there are two buttons in the front page. One is get started. It will help you get started. How do you configure Bootstrap and all those things. And then there's a download button. So when you click on download, you can download the Bootstrap code. Okay, so let's look at the menu options. The first is home. That's where we are in the home page. Then you have this version here. So this is very important, like which version you're trying to download. So there are different versions you can see, and the latest version is 4, just released, and this recording that I'm doing is based on 4.1. So maybe when you go back to 3, you might not see what I'm showing you here. It could be the reason that you have to change your version. Okay, so the version that video is recorded here now is 4.1, and whatever code samples that I give you is based on the 4.1 version of the Bootstrap. Okay, and it also shows that currently it's using 4.1.0. okay, so let's click on the get started button. Okay, get started will help you to show how do you start using the Bootstrap. So various options here. Let's click one by one and see what's inside this getting started. So definitely introduction will talk about how do you use CSS and how do you use JavaScript, right? And there's a starter template that will show you how you should frame your hello world page and how do you start using the Bootstrap. If you cannot find the starter page, you can always click on the starter page, starter template here. Okay, so there are other components. Like I told you, layout is one of the component. We're going to talk about grid in very detail. So next section we'll talk about all those grids and how this grid behaves and how to configure the grids. Then we have content here, like typography, like you have the headings, you have your various customization options and all those things basically available in the content section. Your tables are here, your images are here. If you want to embed an image, how you should write your HTML, your tables are here. Your different types of tables available here. Then in the components, you have your form components like buttons, cards, various options available here. Then you have Jumbotron, which is very cool thing in the Bootstrap, so we're going to use this as well. Then when you go to utilities, you can see you can draw a box and then you can add a border to it, colorful borders and all those stuff. And then you can have, like, you want to show an image with a circle around it. This is simple enough code that you can use it, right? Then you can extend, if you want to extend the Bootstrap and write your own Bootstrap themes, you can start looking at what is the extension model that's been given from the Bootstrap itself. Migration basically help you to migrate from previous version to version 4. They're going to talk about what changes has been done and what you need to retrofit in order to make your code changes when you're working with previous version of the Bootstrap and you want to move to 4. And if you want to see what is the previous version, you can still go and hit this menu icon and it will show you various versions of the Bootstrap. Okay, and you want to see the team, you can see the team from the about page. That's about the documentation. There are two ways to go to documentation. You click on documentation, it will take you there, or you can go to get started, it will go to the same documentation page. Okay, always remember which version of the documentation you're looking at. So next, look at the examples. Examples basically also have a download button, which is typically get confused because there's a download button here, and then when you go to home, there's a download button here. But when you download, sometimes you get a different version of the Bootstrap. So we're going to discuss all those things, and we're going to show you how you have to properly download onto your local machine and configure it. And you can even write a complete website without even downloading any files from the Bootstrap. I'm going to even show you that example. So for now, don't download from the source code. We don't want the source code of a Bootstrap. So here we're going to see different examples, right? You have your pricing table. Let's say you want to have this pricing table component in your website, and you're using a Bootstrap in your starting template. So this code, you can just go to view page source, and you can see that code, how it is being written, and what various classes they have been using for that. Okay, so there are some couple of examples given here. The checkout page, the blog page, how do you write this blog like this, right? All those options are given here. You have your cover page. If you want to have a cover page, we're going to do this. We're going to use this example to build one of the sample portfolio page. Looks something like this. Yeah, then I'm going to use Jumbotron, and then we'll build one website using this. Various examples, just play around with it and see how they basically write the HTML code and how they use some of the classes from the Bootstrap to arrange those elements into the page. Okay, that's basically the example tab. The themes, I'm going to talk about this in the next section. There are the various themes that's available for some little price. I'm going to see that. And then we have your jobs. If you think you are a master in Bootstrap, then basically they also post some of the jobs available on Bootstrap. You can just apply there if you think you have already learned enough and you know Bootstrap very well. The expo basically is a showcase of all the websites that's built with the Bootstrap, and we're going to browse through this, some of the showcases of websites used with Bootstrap, and I'm going to show how you can take this opportunity to extend your own skills to build your own themes. Okay, so those are the options. Go to the blog, they talk about what are the changes that they have been doing on this Bootstrap. So the site is getbootstrap.com. Go visit it now. Just browse through the documentation, look at some of the examples, look at the themes, how people make a theme and sell it, look at the expo, like how other people have used Bootstrap to build different websites. Okay, that's the exercise for you. Just go ahead and browse this site first. Okay, so let's browse the website that is built with Bootstrap. So there are some awesome website that is built using Bootstrap, which is even used over 1 million sites on the internet. So if you just type into the browser and ask for how many sites it has been using Bootstrap, it will just blow your mind. So let me show you the sites that is built with Bootstrap. So for that, you have to go to expo.getbootstrap.com. If you don't have this link, you can go to bootstrap.com. You go to the link called expo. So in the menu, you can find the expo link. Just click on it. So these are the sites that's been built on top of Bootstrap. And if you see the Bootstrap examples, they're just very plain and very blank, right? You see the blogging site is very plain black and white, but it has all the layouts that's required for a blogging site. But if you look at the expo, right, it doesn't really match in what Bootstrap is offering and what they are actually showing to us, because they have done some extra modification on top of the Bootstrap, and they all have the best practices that's been given by Bootstrap. On top of it, they have made some changes, and then they have built this awesome website with Bootstrap. Let's take an example. Okay, let's go to creative team, and you can see the site is pretty good, pretty nice, and that's the power of Bootstrap, right? They will be using all the components of Bootstrap. They just change the styling and some rearrange the components here and there, and then that's how they have a very beautiful site here. So if you want to know whether this site using a Bootstrap or not, you can right click on the page, go view page source, right click on it, and then you should able to find the bootstrap.css here. So if you click on it, you can see they have been using this getbootstrap.com. They are using on version 3.3.2. So they're not using the version 4, they're using the third version, right? But still they have their own custom CSS that's basically bring out all the magic of Bootstrap. Means they arrange this page, they change the font of the page, they change, you know, how the heading should look like and all those things in their custom CSS file. That's basically this one. So if you're not familiar with what is CSS and all those things, so it's okay. It's basically a customization done on top of the Bootstrap. That's how you have to understand it. But just I want to show you not about CSS, but I want to show you can create beautiful websites with Bootstrap, and Expo is a good place for you to visualize this. Let's say there are some components you want to build it, but you don't know how do you build it. You can actually go to expo.getbootstrap.com and see whether you have a similar idea built by someone and how they have actually built it. You can see the source code, see how the style sheet is being arranged. Then you actually fairly get an idea how you should arrange your Bootstrap elements and how do you start customizing it. Okay, so that's basically one of the area that you have to really look into, like how other people are using Bootstrap, and that's how basically you watch other people doing it sometimes, or you basically go and try yourself. You see something, you can just go ahead, open the Bootstrap, start writing your own customization to it. Okay, so let's jump to the next topic, like how to earn money using the Bootstrap. So imagine you have learned really the Bootstrap, everything, and you have become a master of it. If you go to the Bootstrap site, if you go to themes, you can see there's a themes available by the Bootstrap team themselves, and they sell it for $49. This is a theme that's basically given by Bootstrap themselves, but no one is stopping you. You can, if you just have mastered this skill, you can go ahead and build your own theme and you can sell it online. Means you can even sell for $10. One theme, you can just build it and sell it to anyone that you want. And that's basically how you earn money when you learn a skill, right? So you can just go ahead and learn Bootstrap, build a theme, then there are various platforms available where you can sell your theme. So I'm just giving you some ideas. If you really want to earn money with the skills that you're developing, this is one of the way. You can build a theme, you can market it yourself, and then you can earn money with it. Okay, so let me summarize this topic. Right, what you have been learning is Bootstrap is a toolkit using which you can build a website easily. That's the definition I want you to remember. It's like a template or a framework if you don't really get that word toolkit. Right, it has many CSS styles. You're new to CSS and this is the first time you're hearing the word. It's basically a styling of the page, like what is the font size, how your font, which color the font should be, you know, those kind of stuff. And then it has some components. We have seen some components like, you know, button component, table component, and all those things. That's a component, HTML components. That's all predefined in Bootstrap. You can start using it for building your site. You can build a sample website. I'm going to show you that just within 15 minutes. Take a page, sample template page, copy it, and then boom, you just run it, and then you can see your website up and running. And this basically used mostly for prototyping. Like you want to design something, you just want to have a feel of it. So this is the best option available. You just open up a page, drop the starting template, start making some changes, and you have a prototype ready there. So Bootstrap based website actually adjusts the design itself based on the devices, which is a responsive web design. I haven't covered this topic yet. The next topic I'm going to start with the responsive web design, because I want to talk about responsive breakpoints, and I want to show you even my site. I'm going to show you a live demo of it, how actually it responds with when the size of the page, you know, varies into different devices. I'm going to show you that. But you have to understand that site will have this feature available built in. You don't have to really write a single piece of code for it. When you get Bootstrap, anything that you lay out onto the page using the Bootstrap component is automatically responsive by design. Okay, you can build your own website theme, which I already shown you, using the Bootstrap, and then you can sell it online. Okay, so that's the summary of this topic. Let me go through some of the exercise that we are supposed to do. So there are 7 exercises. I will keep on adding to it. I will go till 10. So if there's an update, I will let you know via my newsletters. So first, go to the Bootstrap site and navigate to the document section and find the HTML form fields like button, the submit button, reset button, and all those things. Just figure it out where is in the documentation. Next, find where is the border section in the Bootstrap documentation. Then find the responsive breakpoint. This is a keyword I want you to go and search. Where do you think you can find it? I'm going to show you that in the next section, but I want you to go ahead and find this responsive breakpoints and do some study out of it. Right, and then find the headings H1 to H6. Where do you find this? What is the category that Bootstrap show you? Next, click on the example tab on the menu and click on the download source code button to download the Bootstrap code, and then just view it. When you download from the front page, when you download from the example page, what's the difference? Okay, and in the example page, find the Jumbotron component and verify the code. How do you basically get that Jumbotron? What is the source code behind it? So review this starter template page as well. Okay, so review the starter template page, and if you want to know how do you want to review and where you can get that, click on this link that I gave you. Just click on it. You can find this. Just review it. We're going to go through each of this line in the next section, but beforehand it's better that you have a review, and if you have some open questions, you can just hit a comment to this blog. Okay, and this exercise, why you have to do it, you might be wondering. I already shown you most of it. Why I have to do it is basically get you feel of the site, and it's easy for you to understand when you try to search for something, which category they actually put into. Right, sometimes it's saying is easy, but when you try to really do it, and then you're confused. So I wanted to go through this exercise. That's the whole purpose of doing this course, not by just listening, by doing it. So go ahead and to the site and do this exercise. This is important because in the next section we will build our own site. You will have your own site deployed, and then for that I need some of the skill sets to be built up before we actually do it. Okay, so familiarize yourself with the site, where you can find what, and in the next topic you will download the Bootstrap and configure it on your local machine. That's what we're going to learn, and we also build your first hello world page using Bootstrap, and then we'll execute it on your system. Okay, see you in the next topic. Bye for now.